Right, hello everyone. Welcome to the ACCA webinar. I'm just going to, first of all, hand over to Stuart Waymont, who's just going to introduce the session. Over to you, Stuart.
Okay, thank you, Helen. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us for this ACCA and FSD network webinar. In a moment, I'll hand you back to Helen and she'll take you through the presentation properly. I just really wanted to introduce it as an FSD event, which we've organised obviously through South East Coast FSD, but obviously as it's a webinar, able to open it up to everybody. You probably will have had my contact details when you had your joining instructions, but just in case you didn't, they're up on the screen. And we've also now recently opened up a Twitter account, the details of which are on the screen, so we're now FSD SEC. As you probably heard a moment ago, the webinar will be recorded, and once we've got a copy of the recording, we'll post that up on the Twitter site. So thank you very much for joining us. I'm going to hand back to Helen now, and she's going to take you through the presentation.
Great, thanks very much, Stuart.
Sorry, this is Cheryl. Can I just ask, is there something online that is the presentation that we can see?
Yeah, Cheryl, can you see the presentation now?
No, I haven't got anything.
Have you actually dialed into the link invitation that we sent you?
The meet.acca global.
Yeah, have you clicked on that?
I can't get into it.
But
the Microsoft link.
Yes, yeah.
Right. Just saying initialising.
Okay, Rita's going to email the slides to you then. At least you have the slides even if you've not got the link. It was Cheryl.
Right.
So just be a moment, but we're just onto that, Cheryl. Cheryl Williams, is that?
It is, yeah.
Right, okay, just one moment. We'll send the slides over to you then. At least you can scroll through the slides as we're speaking.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Sorry, we thought this would be a really quick thing, but it's just taken, as everything does when you're in a hurry, it's just taken slightly longer. Right, this should be whizzing over to you right now. Give out the presentation. Okay, if we could get started then, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us, and I think it's been quite a learning curve for all of us with using Link. We will send the slides round, and then either Rita or myself will contact everyone afterwards just to make sure that we haven't left any gaps in all of the presentation. My name's Helen Ripley, and I work for ACCA, and I work with employers in the public sector, and a lot of obviously our public sector employers are within the health service. And I've been asked today to talk to you about the ACCA main professional qualification and what's involved. There will be time for questions at the end, and you can also type questions in the box at the bottom. And also, following the presentation, if you do have any questions, then do feel free to email me or give me a call or to call Rita, and we can get in touch with you and send you any further information that you need. There's an awful lot of information on ACCA's website as well to back up all of this, and if you need any help with sending you the links to the website, then we'll be happy to do that. So You probably all know something about ACCA, is the leading global body for professional accountants. And I'm going to give you some more information about ACCA and specifically the qualification. So the next slide that we've got here is our global network. So all of these places that you see, the red dots, are where we operate, where we have members, exam centres and trainees. So if you see your career extending outside of the UK, then obviously you can take your qualification with you. You can do your CPD and you will have a network there. The nice thing is as well that ACCA has a lot of virtual networks, and you'll be able to plug into these and share ideas with people working in a similar sector to yourself at all these places around the globe, and you'll all be doing exactly the same qualification. So what I'm going to give you now is the overview of the professional qualification and everything that's involved with it. So there are 3 components to the ACCA qualification. So to become a member, you have to complete the exams, which is the one area that everybody always seems to know quite a lot about, the exams, and you have to complete an ethics component, and you have to also get some work experience. So I'm going to talk to you about all 3 of these components, but we'll start with the exams. So here we have the ACCA exams in front of us. We start assuming absolutely no prior knowledge of accountancy at all. So please don't worry if you've never covered any accountancy, but the fact that you're working in a finance role will really help right from the start, because it will give you some practical grounding that you can back up your academic studies with. So we start with 3 knowledge-based papers. Accountant in Business looks at all the aspects of being a professional accountant. Management accounting, obviously, management accounting, budgeting, forecasting, and financial accounting, which is your introduction to double entry bookkeeping. Anyone that's done the AAT qualification will be exempt from these first 3 papers, F1, F2, and F3. And if you've done any sort of finance degree or a finance-related degree, you may well be able to claim exemptions from the first 3 papers and some of the skills level, but we'll talk more about exemptions in a moment. The first 3 papers are all available by computer-based examination, so you can take these exams on demand when you feel that you're ready. Often at the premises of the tuition provider, BPP and Kaplan, both offer that facility. They are 2-hour papers, and if you do them by computer-based assessment, then you can find out straight away if you've passed, or, well, I'm not going to say failed, but hopefully that you've passed them and what your result is. Oh, sorry. NVQ level 3 AAT, you need to have the whole, so we've just been asked a question about AAT exemptions. To get exemptions from those first 3, you would need to complete all of your AAT qualification. But I think the NVQ level 3 wouldn't actually give you exemptions from those 3, but perhaps we could follow that up later, Sophie. Yeah, fine. Okay, so back to the exam papers. Once you've done... Right, so the first 3 computer-based papers are, as I said, they're on demand. Now, once we get to F4 to F9, and this is to answer Kieran's question, these are paper-based examinations, and they're sat in December and June. 3-hour papers, and you're given a quarter of an hour reading and planning time before you actually sit the examination. The skills papers, 3 of them actually build on the knowledge papers, and 3 of them, taxation, corporate and business law, and audit and insurance, will all be new papers. So you can take the skills papers in any order that you wish. but we ask that you complete the skills module before you go on to the next stage, which is the professional stage. So here we have the professional stage. And we start with the 3 essentials papers. Paper P1, Governance, Risk and Ethics, which is a really important flagship paper for ACCA, which really gets to the heart of what being a professional accountant is. Corporate reporting and business analysis will again build on the skills that you've picked up at the previous stages. And then from the last 4, we ask that you choose 2 papers from those 4 options. Typically, I usually expect people who are working in the health sector to take options P4 and P5. Although, if you wish, you could do paper P6 and P7. For example, if you find that you're doing a lot of work with taxation, or you feel that you want to go down an internal audit route, it'll be the same qualification, whichever papers you choose. And you can change your mind. You can say, for example, have a go at paper P4, and if you really don't like that, you can swap it for P6. You don't have to commit to one particular paper. We've also, some of you may have heard of the Oxford Brookes option, the Oxford Brookes degree option. Once you've got to professional stage and you've taken those first 9 papers or being exempt from some of those papers, you have the option of sitting a BSc degree in applied accounting. You won't have to do any further exams at all because those first 9 exams have been sat in conjunction with Oxford Brookes University. What you will need to do is to complete the research and analysis project, which is like a dissertation. That's marked by Oxford Brookes University, and then you will be awarded the BSc degree in applied accounting. What some people tend to do is to complete all of the ACCA examinations and then do the degree option, but it just gives you a great opportunity to complete a degree alongside your ACCA studies. Now, that's all I was going to say about the exams for the moment, but do feel free to type in questions or ask wait till the end to ask questions if you wish. Exemptions, I mentioned the exemptions for the AAT, full completion of AAT, of the first 3. And if you have a degree that has any element of finance, then do have a look at the ACCA online exemption calculator, because you may well be eligible to get some exemptions for that. I think we've got somebody's on hold music. Oh, that's gone. That's very nice music. Right, we've talked about the Oxford Brookes degree. Now, I mentioned ethics earlier on. Ethics is covered in 11 of the exam papers, but we also ask that you complete an online ethics module. And the ethics module, you can sit that as soon as you're eligible to sit paper P1, so as soon as you move on to that professional stage. It's not an extra exam, so please don't be put off thinking that we're going to make you take an extra exam. It's a piece of online learning. Typically takes somewhere between 2 and 4 hours. It's very interactive. I did it myself a couple of years ago and it's actually very interesting. And it sits nicely alongside paper P1. It introduces you to the whole subject of ethics and then narrows it down to ethics in a finance context. There are a lot of self-tests, case studies, that sort of thing. But our regulator does insist that we give you that grounding in ethics before we allow you through to ACCA membership. So the next thing I want to talk to you about is experience. You may have heard people who are qualified talking about the logbook, which is how we used to record practical experience on a paper-based logbook. But the nice thing is now that it's all of the recording is done online. So you don't have to complete a paper-based book and you can't lose it because it's online on ACCA's website on your own personal area, which is called My ACCA. So for practical experience, you need to have 36 months of relevant practical experience, and that must cover 13 performance objectives. And I'll talk about performance objectives in a moment. The 36 months, that can be claimed either before, during, or after you've completed the ACCA exams. And the 36 months doesn't have to run continuously. So if you've done, say, a secondment in internal audit a couple of years ago, that can count towards your 36 months. If you work part-time, you need to prorata so that you get the equivalent of 36 months full-time. So say, for example, if you work 2.5 days a week, you would need to do 72 months. And the performance objectives that I mentioned earlier, that you need to cover 13 performance objectives, they should now be in front of you. There are 9 essential performance objectives that you need to cover. A lot of these 9 essential performance objectives are centred around interpersonal skills, management type areas, or soft skills, as they're often called. We need you to cover all 9 of these. And we need you to cover 4 of the technical performance objectives, which are in the panel on the right, numbered 10 through to 20. Now, I've worked with NHS organisations over the years, and we've never had a problem with students getting a wide enough experience to cover all of those performance objectives. But it's a very good idea to keep on top of how your experience is panning out to meet the performance objectives. And for each one of these numbered objectives, there's an absolute ton of information on ACCA's website. We show how they link to the exams. We give you examples of the sort of work that would be covered within the objectives. And we give you some ideas of the sort of level we would expect you to work at. When you feel that you're ready to have one of the objectives signed off, you simply go into your section of the ACCA website called My ACCA, click on that performance objective and answer 3 challenge questions. You then give the details of your line manager, who then verifies that yes, in their opinion, you've completed them, and that's it. That performance objective is signed off. We don't stipulate how much time we need you to spend doing that particular work. We just rely on the judgment of your line manager or supervisor to say that you've completed the performance objective. So just going back to the slide about the ACCA qualification. So we've talked about the exams that you need to cover. We've talked about the ethics module, the online module, which, as I keep reminding people, is not an extra exam. And we've talked about the ACCA experience. So those are the 3 components of the ACCA qualification. And once you've completed all of those, then you're sent an email by ACCA to ask if you wish to become an ACCA member. And that's all of that in a nutshell. Just a bit more about the ACCA qualification on a broader level. We've put together our own competency framework in ACCA. Now, I know most of you working in health service will have your own organisational competency framework. We've made sure that our exams and the experience that you required will cover all of those areas that you've got in front of you for the competency framework, in order that you are the complete finance professional, so that you can work within any area of finance. And what I've done on the next slide is we've got a pie chart which shows how the qualification pans out to cover all of these key business areas. So you've got all of the management accounting, the financial accounting and reporting. You can see the ethics content and just how the qualification is balanced out. Now, this pie chart has been put together assuming that you would take the options that I suggested. So obviously the weighting will change a little bit if you chose to do the audit and the tax at the final level as your option. Now, I've just got a few more slides left. I wanted to give you this one so that you can see the makeup of ACCA's membership. You can see that most of our members are in the corporate sector and 16% in the public sector, which obviously would include the health service, which I think is probably a fairly good representation of the way that the accountancy profession looks. Here we have some snapshots of some of our members. You'll see Dean Westcott there, of the FD and Deputy Chief Exec of West Sussex NHS Trust. Dean's obviously, sorry, no, you wouldn't obviously know that. Dean is our outgoing president, and we generally have had very good representation on ACCA's council from the health service. So the views of the health sector are always represented very well in the sort of the hierarchy of ACCA, and we always make sure that all of our syllabus, any changes, any consultations, we have good representation from the NHS, because we want to give you that relevant qualification. Oh, sorry, I've just seen a question here that I'd just like to go over to. A very good question from Rayhan, who asked, does your line manager have to be ACCA qualified? No, your line manager doesn't have to be ACCA qualified, but what we do ask is that whoever signs off your performance objectives is a qualified accountant. So they may be CIMA, ICAW, SIPFA or ACCA qualified. If you work for somebody who's not a qualified accountant, there is also a way around that, in that we ask you to complete the performance objective, and whoever your non-qualified manager is, they can still sign it off online, but we ask that you then print off a paper copy and ask somebody else within the organisation who is a qualified accountant to countersign, and then you just keep those paper-based copies as a backup until you go through to membership. Often within the NHS, it's the FSD lead who can act as that counter-signatory, which usually they're qualified. And then just another profile here we've got from Chris Ellison, who I met at a conference in the Northwest last year. Just to give you some information on why he chose ACCA, he was very happy that he was doing ACCA. He was giving a talk on treasury management to a student conference, so I asked him to give us some background as to his choice of ACCA, just to share with you. So here we've got some key dates for the ACCA exams. When you register online with ACCA, and all of your communications with ACCA can be done online, it takes usually between 10 days and two weeks to get your registration through. And as soon as you're registered, you can start to take your exams. As soon as you're registered, you can sit your computer-based exams, and we ask that if you want to take exams in December, that you're registered by the 8th of October 2013. So if you want to do the paper-based exams, register by the 8th of October and you'll be able to sit the exams 2nd to the 11th of December, they're spread over the 2 weeks, and your results will be sent to you in the middle of February by email. Now, there's a huge amount of support for you online, and a lot of this is all available publicly, so you don't have to actually be registered as an ACCA student. So if you're thinking of doing ACCA, then do have a look at the website. There's study guides, there's a syllabus, there's past papers for all of the exam papers. If you can't find the information that you want, then do drop Rita or I a line and we can send you the link. But there's lots and lots of information on there. The examiners make themselves very well available to you as ACCA students, which I think is great, because you can see the subjects that they're really very keen on. You can see what the hot topics are. You can see the core topics that come up in each exam sitting. And all of the articles that the examiners write, that they put in the student newsletter, there's an archive of all of them. So there's some great resources to help with your revision on the website. We have quite a lot of information for anyone who's moving from AAT to ACCA, because we do get a lot of people who make that transition from AAT, claim those 3 exemptions and move on to ACCA, and obviously they've got the option of doing the Oxford Brookes, the BSc degree alongside of that I mentioned. So do have a look at that on the website. If you've got the AAT qualification, you'll be able to see how that move's made through to ACCA. So those are my contact details there. Please do drop me a line if there's anything that you want to ask about. We have a 24-hour helpline, ACCA Connect, which is based up in Glasgow. So even if it's at midnight, if there's anything that you wanted to ask about registering with ACCA, your exams, anything like that, then do give them a call or drop them an email. There's also lots and lots available through social media outlets. There's some very good YouTube videos on an ACCA official YouTube channel that can give you lots more information from people that have done the qualification or who are studying. There's also an official Facebook site, so do have a look at that, whichever part of social networking you're interested in. No, it's very odd giving lots and lots of information to people that I can't see or can't hear. So at this point, has anybody got any questions that they'd like to ask? If you have any questions, you can either ask them online or type them in the message box. I think somebody's just typing a question in just at the moment.
Can I just ask you a question?
Yes, please do, yes.
About the AAT and getting the exemption for the first 3 on the ACCA, is there a time limit or?
From when you take an AAT?
Yeah.
No, there isn't. No.
Right.
When did you do your AAT qualification?
I'm just coming to the end of it now.
Oh right, no. Were you thinking if you have a break in between AAT and then moving on to ACCA?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you'll be fine. No.
Right, that's fine, thank you.
I mean, if we were going back, I think, sort of say if you'd done AAT 10 or 20 years ago, the exemptions might be slightly different, but no, we're still aligned to the current syllabus. So yes, that is fine. But it does really help if you sort of move as soon as you can onto the next level, because then obviously you retain all that knowledge and you will build on what you've done with your AAT.
Helen.
Hi.
Hiya. I'm waiting for result of my last exam. I did AAT. I'm expecting it sometime in November.
Right.
So can I apply for exemptions now because it was my last exam?
I think you can. Can I just check? I have a colleague here who will have a much better idea of that. AAT exemptions. We're just waiting for the November exam results for AAT. Can they still apply for the exemptions? When was it that you took your last AAT exams?
Oh, I took it on 25th of September. Just last week, last Wednesday.
You still have to wait till next June to do the paper-based, that wouldn't you, anyway? Yeah. What we were just saying is that your probably the first exam sitting that you would have for ACCA would be June next year. So you would have plenty of time to register with ACCA and to register to sit the June exams, and you could actually start studying for the ACCA papers before you got your AAT results, but you'd have to get your results to actually register. So
that's fine.
Yeah, you can still go along to the college or the tuition provider and start studying.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
I'm going to leave the conference now. I'm going to go and pick the kids up from school now.
Uh-huh.
So, That's all right. And if I have any more questions, I'll email you.
I think that's a good idea. And everyone else that's on the call, then I think if we close off now, but please do send me any questions that you have by email, and have a look at the ACCA website. And I think that may throw out some more questions. So thanks everyone very much for listening, and thanks for your patience, those of you who had to wait a little while whilst we got everyone dialed in, and hope to speak to you soon. Thank you, bye.